What's going on, guys? This is some rear GoPro footage from Ben Carmen's bike from the crit yesterday, the Real Ronda Ramstonssphere. Reason I wanted to do this is because a few of the guys mentioned in the race that moving up was very difficult, and Ben seemed to have absolutely no issue doing that. So we're going to run through the first 15 minutes of the race, ending in Ben making a four-man selection off the front, and see what we can learn from the places he moves up on the course, and also looking at what some of the other riders are doing and seeing where they're deciding to move up. So we've got the power and heart rate down here at the bottom, and then course map in the top right. Ben actually started the race at the back, and you can see already in this first 45 seconds he's already moved up quite a few places. Ben also had some issues with his chain coming off the chain rings, so you'll see a few times throughout the race he stops pedaling because he has to get his chain back on the chain rings. So it was actually he had a few hurdles in terms of holding his position. But let's get into it now. Coming down into the bottom corner before the slight uphill, finishing straight. And let's see what's going to happen. So we can see here, pretty rough bottom corner there. And then accelerating, coming up. Now, interesting one to follow here is Jono. So Jono is on the right-hand side here. So Jono is now behind his teammate Ben. And let's see how Ben sort of decides to move up. So you can see here coming into the top corner, Ben moving up on the outside of the corner, clear run, skims the bushes there. So Ben's already made up 3 positions there compared to Jono, who was sort of behind him. Holding position now. Let's see how he moves forward. So you can see coming into the corners, again, he'd moved up about 5 positions there on the outside of the corner again. So they're going to go into another right-hander, which means he's still, I think, on the right-hand side of the bunch. Let's see if he's going to move up going into the corner again, if he's going to hold. And then again, so he's basically these last 3 corners, he's overtaken 3 or 4 riders each corner to move up. So pretty interesting to see the way he's navigating here, choosing to go on the outside of the corners and then just braking later than everyone, taking the corner with a little bit more speed and then leapfrogging a few riders at a time. So interesting tact. I think sometimes people say you should try and move up on the inside, or that the sort of the inside riders have control. From what I can see here from Ben, again, look, that was, how many people did he overtake there? It's like 7 guys it looked like he overtook in one sweep. So just, obviously that takes cornering skill, but you can see here, see how he stopped pedaling and dropped back and then sprinted about 800 watts. So that was his chain coming off there, coming out of that corner. So he did lose some positions there. And then again, sticking on the outside. So these are all right-hand corners on this course. And you can see he's generally staying on the left-hand side of the bunch. So the right-hand side of this video as you see it here. Ben Spenceley again following. Ben just not really confident enough to take that, to get on the wheel of Ben. And then again, moved up 3 more spots on the outside of the bunch. Coming down again for this last corner before the downhill run. Let's see if he moves up. Is he going to move up? Again, moved up again. 1, 2, 3 riders he overtakes. Coming out of the corner, accelerating up to speed, and then slots in here in the draft. So let's see, coming down here, and then you can see like on the right-hand side here, you can see that's Ben Spenceley there moving up on the downhill section. But Ben was behind, Ben Spenceley there in the background was on Ben's wheel going into that, in the lead into that corner. But Ben's just navigating the corners far more efficiently. Again, sticking on the outside, again, chains come off, he's stopped. See, this is, it's actually quite unbelievable the skill that Ben Carmen has here. So chains back on, sprinting up to speed, still sticking on the left-hand side of the bunch as he would be seeing it. And then 2 teammates behind here. So we've got Miles and Ben Carmen. Let's see if they follow him through. Miles sort of getting squeezed there on the outside. Single file here through these chicanes. Miles starting to, you can see Miles wanting to move up and get on Ben's wheel, but it's just a bit hard. Ben here around on the outside. So just holding position now, holding position. Unfortunately, his front GoPro wasn't recording, so we can't see what he's seeing. But then again, going into this corner, he moves up again. I mean, it looks really, to be honest, it looks really easy. Obviously, there's a big degree of skill here in terms of the cornering skill, but it does show if you want to move up in these crits, it is possible. And the place to do it, based off what we're seeing here, is going into the corners. And interestingly as well, doing it on the outside of the bunch, not the inside. I think reason why the inside of the bunch doesn't really work is because if you're moving up on the inside, you're at the mercy of the guys that are in front of you, because they can just move over right and squeeze you through the apex, and then you're going to have to ride the brakes. So in the apex of the corner, you're going to have to touch the brakes. They can really cut you off. On the outside, all the riders in front of you that are taking the quote-unquote racing line are going to want to be taking the apex of the corner. So they're going to want to take the fastest line through, which means on the outside, if you're confident in your cornering skill to carry more speed, you've pretty much got a free run, because riders aren't going to swing wide and avoid, not take the apex of the corner just to cut you off. So we can kind of see how that's working here. And Ben here, that was a big squeeze he did there. So coming through this corner, takes it, sprints up to speed. It looks like racing, the speed's really picked up here. So there was a group of 4, the winning move that got off the front. I think it was around this point in time. So the speed's super high here. So I'm guessing that those 4 guys have ripped off the front, and now it's a bit of a scramble behind, guys trying to organise themselves to either chase or launch their own attacks to try and bridge across. But you can see Miles here just comfortably sitting on Ben's wheel. Miles had the GoPro on, so that was working. I think he turned it on just in the second half of the race, though. These regular GoPros that you can see Miles got there, they've only got about an hour battery life. This rear one that Ben's running is the old GoPro Hero Session, and they last over 2 hours. So that's why we can get the whole race on the rear. So again, holding position. At this stage, I think there must have been someone riding the front. You can see the speed here is going up a lot. I think the guys were just freaking out, scrambling, because this 4-man move was getting off the front. So someone's on the front here. Ben's heart rate as well. Have a look there in the bottom right. It's at 180. And I think Ben's max in this race was 183 maybe. So this is about as hard as it gets. And you can see as well, like Miles, pain face on, floating through these corners in the hoods. So Miles has come around Ben now, and I think the guys were starting to it was kind of panic stations a little bit. I think maybe Ben Spenceley is up ahead and was riding on the front. But let's see what's going to happen here. So we know this video is 16 minutes long, meaning that Ben launches his move that forms the chase group at about 14 minutes in. So that's 5 or 6 minutes away. And you can see here he must be pretty close to the front, because there's some attacks flying. Full speed coming down this back section to go into this corner. Interesting one here as well. Miles at this point in time doesn't want to drop back. So Ben's probably your top 10 wheels here at this section. And when the race is on this hard, it's worth Miles doing that little sort of energy expenditure just to hold position. Because coming through that corner very easily could have just sat up and let a bunch of guys move in front of him. But then he's going to have to spend that energy moving back up again. So just coming out of that corner at the bottom of the finishing straight there, Miles just did that big acceleration just to make sure he can hold his position. Pace is still on here, so someone's obviously riding at the front. Ben is probably now looking at it going, okay, those 4 guys have a pretty big gap. We're not going to be able to just ride them back. Ben will be looking for that counter move. And let's see what happens here. So he's moving up. I wouldn't be surprised if Ben was actually on the front right now. So Ben holding this camera. I think the guys were starting to try and set a bit of pace. So this is top 5 wheels now, looking here. So let's see. So I think Ben there is just sort of rolling off the front, and then so it's really confusing because we've got 2 Bens on the team. Ben Spenceley is the guy with the black bike on the team that rolled through just before. So Ben's now moving back in the bunch. And again, interestingly, sticking to the outside here. So they're about to go through a right-hand corner and Ben's on the left-hand side of the bunch. So we can see Ben is definitely preferring the outside lines through these corners. Bit of a squeeze coming on now, so everyone's starting to move up. So you can see the pace was on for sort of 2 laps. 4-man group is off the front, and now it's kind of like guys just regrouping, realizing that it is sort of panic stations in terms of being in a race-winning position. And this is where we'll start to see some attacks flying. So I think we've still got Ben Spenceley from Nero on the black bike. He was setting some pace on the front. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the front right now. And then this Ben here with the camera is probably top 5 wheels. So this is right at the front of what's left of the peloton. Big sprint here, 1,000 watts coming around. So someone's done an attack and they're about to full send through this right-hand corner. Let's have a look. I mean, this you can see this rider here behind Ben on camera here. It's very comfortable. Looks to be having absolutely no issues. Holding Ben's wheel there through the corner. Down the hill on the backhand side. And again, the pace is just super high. I think yeah, so the guy on the right there. So guys are now, this is very front. That guy's just attacked solo. Ben's now, I think, is on the front. And you've basically got guys scrambling to form a chasing group. So let's have a look here. I mean, these guys make it look easy. That corner, I'm telling you, I was standing there watching it. This GoPro actually smooths it out. It was almost a curb, the steepness of it. Guys were sort of jumping to get up it. It's really difficult. So let's see what Ben's going to do here. So we're at 12 minutes into the video. The sort of attack to form the chasing group is going to be coming up here in the next few minutes. So Ben, let's see. So he's holding position here. Guys are starting to move up on the right hand side of Ben, so on the inside of the corner. Ben at this stage is not going to want to drop back, otherwise he's going to be out of position to follow move. So let's see how he holds his position here. So holding through there. He's sort of awkwardly not on the wheel in front, and there we go. So he's slotted onto the wheel there. So that's just a bit of, to get on that wheel there, it's just showing your intent, sort of moving your body weight over. And then this rider in yellow here is sort of just given way and let him sort of slot in front. And then pace high again on this downhill section. All these guys sending it, splitting the traffic island in the middle. And we can see here, this is it now, I think. I think this is where it's going to happen. So we've got guys moving up, guys scrambling, pace is super high. Coming into this right-hand corner again. Actually, maybe it'll be next lap. So this is basically, this is where it's happening. So Ben at this stage is probably top 5 wheels still. And he needs to hold his position here. If he loses focus for a little bit and just lets himself drop back, he will not be in a position to follow guys attacking to form a chase group. So he needs to hold here. So what's he doing? Let's see what lines he's taking. So this rider here in the orange, right up on his back wheel, looks pretty comfortable. This GoPro is cropped in a little bit because I ran some stabilization on it because it's super shaky. So through this right-hand corner, again, obviously there's someone at the front's riding, or there's guys attacking and following, so Ben's getting a pretty good ride here. And then coming down into the right-hander before the finishing straight, and this is where it's going to happen. So Ben is just holding. There's the guys are in pretty good position. Ben Spencer there is 2 wheels behind. And this is where it's going to happen. So obviously someone's attacked, a few guys are off the front, and Ben's just going to move up on the outside of the bunch, going into the right-hand corner. He splits the traffic island right-hand side, holds the power down, 500 watts all the way into this bottom corner, holding the power down, jumps the curb down, and then steps on it again. And you can see there he's got the separation. So in terms of the timing, on paper, that's just a terrible time to attack on a downhill going into a corner. But it's the timing that was right in terms of what the bunch was doing. It wasn't necessarily the place on the course that made that. It was the timing of it. The guys it had been 2 full gas laps. The whole front of the bunch was really tired, and then Ben's just used that his cornering skill on the outside of the corner as he'd done before. And you can see here he's bridging across. We can see the time here. I think he's been off the front for nearly a minute. Coming through here, and he's still... Look, we can't see the front, but he's almost there. He'd be nearly there now. 181 beats per minute. He was at 100. He's been from 175 to 180 pretty much the first 15 minutes. So you can see how hard the race was. Power dropping off here, so I'm guessing... So he'd be on the wheel now, so he's doing about 300 watts in this down here, which means he's definitely got it himself in the draft. But yeah, I think this is the first time I've watched this footage, and I do find it fascinating how Ben was taking the outside line through every corner, which is probably not what you'd sort of recommend if you read a textbook on crit cornering, but it totally worked for him. He was taking 4 or 5 positions every lap through... Sorry, 4 or 5 positions every corner just by taking the outside line. So pretty interesting, something haven't seen before, and yeah, if you are doing a very technical crit like this, it is something to try. And he's bridged. That's it. 4-man group. He's going to go ahead and work his way through. Let's see who he's with here. Let's just let this play out for a little bit. So we've got that guy on the right. That's a continental team here in Europe. Solar, Metex Solar, what I think it's called. And then it looks like two club guys here in green and white. I'll end this here. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something and enjoyed it. Now I'll catch you in the next one.